In 1942, the studio behind Bugs Bunny made a cartoon so strange that they forgot to renew its copyright. 80 years on, that 7-minute film quietly belongs to all of us. It is called The Dover Boys at Pimento University, and on paper it was a spoof of the Rover Boys, a wildly popular line of children's adventure novels. What made it bizarre is that it broke almost every rule of 1940s animation. Characters streaked across the frame in blurs. Backgrounds went flat and bold. Nobody had drawn a cartoon like this. The director, Chuck Jones, had invented what animators now call smear frames. When a character moved fast, he drew them as a stretch smear for a single frame, then snapped them back into shape. It looked slick, and it was cheap. The trick let Jones suggest explosive motion with far fewer drawings than Disney's realism demanded. Animation could finally afford to be fast. That idea was heresy in an era obsessed with smooth, lifelike drawing. But a handful of young artists watched it and took furious notes. They were animators who had just walked out of Disney during a bitter labor strike. Together they founded their own studio, UPA, and the Dover Boys was the spark. UPA went on to create Mr. Magoo and Gerald McBoing Boing, and to champion the flat, modern look that rejected cute realism entirely. The seed had been planted in that strange 1942 short. That same limited animation is the reason Saturday morning television cartoons could be made at all. The look of an entire era of TV traces back to drawing fewer frames. The short itself is a blast to watch. The villain, Dan Backslide, is introduced as a coward, a bully, a cad, and a thief. The heroes are pompous, foppish fools. It plays like a parody of a parody. Yet for all its influence, the cartoon never got a sequel. It was too odd to repeat, too experimental to become a series. The studio treated it as a curiosity and moved on, and that indifference is what set it free. Under the copyright law of the era, a film had to renew its registration to stay protected past its first term. Warner Bros. Simply let the deadline pass. The renewal was paperwork for a short nobody at the studio took seriously. Because it lapsed, the Dover Boys tumbled straight into the public domain, so it now lives freely on the Internet Archive and on countless bargain bin collections. The cartoon the studio barely understood became one of the most freely available in history. Warner Bros. Spent a fortune turning Bugs Bunny into a permanent brand. Meanwhile, the strange 7-minute short they shrugged off slipped its own paperwork and outlived them all. Follow The Real Vault for more films Hollywood forgot.